Welcome to Entrepreneurial Reality with Bash. Every week we'll be speaking to startup and scale-up founders to learn about them, their ambitions for the business, goals and objectives. Every conversation is a moment in time, documenting entrepreneurs' current situation with a view to coming back next year to see how they are getting on. Each journey will be different. Each innovation could be game-changing. I hope you enjoy. Hi, Entrepreneurial Reality with Bash. We've got a special part 2 here with Sam Patchitt, talking about another venture that he's just working on and building up at this point in time. So, Sam, if you could just give us a brief recap of who you are and your additional venture.
Yes, so I'm Sam, I'm 26. The venture that I started on the side of Yellow Label, at the moment, it is called Finstant. What Finstant is, or what it will be rather, is it will be an easy and effective way for small business owners and first-time entrepreneurs to create cash flow forecasts. This came out of a need I had with Yellow Label as our CFO. I was having to do financial forecasting for almost once a month, for different people, different things. You need to see it, you need to plan out your finances. It's an incredibly important document, your cash flow. When are you going to run out of money? I had to do it on Excel. And most business owners will have to do the same thing. You'll spend weeks doing it in Excel, and then you'll realize that one of your cells is wrong, and you spend another week trying to figure out which cell it is and trying to rectify that problem. What Finstant will be is a website that takes all of that hassle out and should allow you to create accurate cash flow forecast in about half an hour by just using intuitive questions and a reactive graph rather than a billion cells.
Let's talk a bit more about it then. So there are a number of software that does a lot of the point of sale, the recording, the invoicing, the receipts, and then associated costs of product and the sale price and what the margins are. Have you got cash in, cash out? And some claim to provide a cash flow sort of reporting tool. So how would this be different?
Yeah, so there are a lot of companies that do a very similar thing or interlink this with other kinds of services. Everyone's heard of companies like Xero and Sage, and larger enterprises have other more complex financial management systems, but I would class that as a financial management system. It's not a financial forecasting system. If you can afford to pay for Xero, you're doing all right. In my opinion, I started out our first business with no money, literally £0 in the bank. So you have to figure out, what do I need to start the business and how long is that going to last? Taking it a step further back. I did the same with this one. How much do I need to start and make this business survive? This is a product before Xero. This is before you need Sage. This is your first cash flow forecast. Even going down to your first entrepreneur, you have no idea how to use Excel. So you use this instead because it's a lot easier to use. Your first venture, you don't even know if it's a good idea or not. This is an idea I've had in the shower. Maybe this will work. Okay, let's just spend half an hour figuring out the cash I would need to start this rather than 3 weeks and realizing I don't have the money. You can even scale that back to, students and school kids in business classes and business degrees. You need to be able to figure out cash flow forecasts. So why not have a simple way of doing it where you could just do it in half an hour? I don't see it ever competing with the likes of Xero and Sage. I never want to have a financial management service. I want to provide cash flow forecasting for small companies. And I would prefer to work with these companies rather than consider myself competing against them in that regard.
Straight away, that comes to mind, if I'm an individual, I've got a set amount of cash, I've got an idea, I'm looking to establish how long it will take for me to burn that cash. Mm-hmm. What cost for the service?
Initially, I want it to be free, or the majority of features to be free. I figure that the pay system for this is going to be like any other software on the platform, which is a subscription-based service. You think of Dropbox, you think of Spotify, you think of Google. They're all free to a point. And this is what I want to do. It would be so hypocritical of me saying that I want to target small businesses and people with ideas and then charging them through the nose for that privilege. It doesn't work. It doesn't check out. So I want the base product to be free and available and people to use it and access it. And then if they want to use it excessively, there'll be a paywall. There are other methods of monetization that I'll be looking into and that aren't mutually exclusive to this one. But like I said, essentially for people who want to see if an idea is going to work, I want it to be free.
How far in the journey of Finstant are you at this point in time? Have you taken the learnings that you've made already from Yellow Label and starting to apply those?
I like to think I have. I certainly have tried to. What I've been trying to do is figure out essentially the learning I've taken is figure out the quickest way I can get this to market. Now, initially, I tried to find a CTO that could
Mhm.
build me an MVP it was more like an alpha, to be honest. Then that sort of didn't really work out. The CTO kind of dropped out after a while. So now then I was talking to agencies about how much will it cost to build this thing, or and then again MVP version. Not thinking about the functionality I want in 2 years' time, but just what can I have in 6 months' time. I've got speaking to some funding sources and some other business sources. So I'm at the point whereby probably in the next month or so, by hook or by crook, it will start being developed, the service, and because of the relative ease of building, I'm not doing rocket science. I'm just doing something better than Excel. It won't take me a huge amount of time to develop it and get it to market and get it in people's hands, get people using it, and whether they like it or not, then is down to me making the product better. The real journey I've learned is how can I get the product in people's hands fast? A workable MVP. For Yellow Label, it took us over a year. I've not started this venture to do that again. If someone turns around to me tomorrow and says it'll take about a year to do this, I'll say see you later, or I'll drop it, or I'll do something else. I'm not interested in a venture that is that long term anymore. I want something that I can fail quickly if I'm going to fail at all. But I hope it doesn't. I've spoken to enough people that I don't believe it will, but I need to get it into their hands and test it, and see how they're going to use it, see what features they need, what they don't need. So that's what I'm taking forwards with me into this venture.
Okay, and are you looking for funding?
I've had two options on the table for a little while, and I guess the two options are pay for developers to make it a certain size, or try and get a co-founder in to build it of a smaller size. This is my issue that I have to really do some soul searching and solve, because giving away equity and putting some funding in myself isn't an issue at all, really, to be really honest. If it gets me to a product of a certain size quicker that I can then test at, then I'm happy to do that. One of the issues we had with Yellow Label, going to try all the way back to learning from this, is that even though we built a product with a CTO and we got it in and it was good, it wasn't scalable enough that we could raise off that. The kind of dilemma I have here is, do I get a CTO in to build something that kind of works for like 30 people? Will that be enough to then get funding in the future? Yes or no? It's not a question I can answer accurately. Or do I get investment and co-investment in now and build a product that will be available for like thousands of people, and then maybe look to raise again off the back of that, or just have the product working and scaling for that size? It's a question that I have to ask myself, to be honest. What kind of position I'm in to make either of those options happen? I'm probably leaning towards the latter, because again, as much as I would love to just build a product in 3 weeks and test it in front of 5 people, that's not going to get me anywhere.
No.
Realistic, in the grand scheme of things, that doesn't really get you further. I believe I've spoken to enough people about the service that they would use it if I built it. I'm part of enough networks and small business circles that people want this type of service. So I believe I built it to scale. It could scale, given the right marketing.
So with the cash flow, focusing on an idea, product development, building a business, could it translate to personal finances as well?
Yeah, there's no reason it couldn't. Essentially, it's a way to input monetary figures and show a graph. That's the features 101, is showing a graph by inputting money. And there's no reason it couldn't be done for personal finance. I also thought it'd be done for like project finances. So even in like a large enterprise, you have a marketing budget. How is that being spent? What do you think it's going to be spent on? When? How? What's the returns on that? So anywhere where you see that little pound sign and you need a little graph, like eventually this kind of service could be used for that. So yeah, I'm not really focused on the personal finance element. There are quite a lot of personal finance services already out there, but there's no reason that someone couldn't use it for their own means, given the inputs that are available to them, to be honest.
Interesting. So a bit like a Monday or a Calendly for cash flow.
Yes, certainly. Again, one of the reasons I want to build it and get it into people's hands is because they will give me answers that I hadn't thought of. I literally not thought of the personal finance aspect until you brought it up, just then. And every time I tell someone about it, they come up with a new idea.
And I've got an idea as well, which I'll share with you offline, because I don't want to necessarily share it.
But that's the brilliant thing about having an idea and sharing it with people, that they give you ideas back. I spoke to one guy who's got a really great business, and he said he would need to be able to export it into Excel, the financial forecast, because there are certain investors that want it in Excel. And I hadn't thought of that. I'm kind of leading the anti-Excel brigade with this business, but actually people still need it in this format. So I'm like, okay, well, that has to be a feature. I hadn't thought about it before I spoke to him. And every time I speak to someone about this, they always give me a new answer. And again, that's why I want to get it into people's hands. Get people using it, get their feedback, hear what their thoughts are. What do they like? What don't they like? What do they want to add? What did they use it for? And then I can really figure out where the product goes and really map out its journey.
So for the less organized people out there, how do you go about recording all this feedback and then collating it and keeping it as a system of record so you can evaluate what the feedback is and then reiterate and move forwards from a development standpoint?
It really depends on what kind of thing you're releasing and how you like to collate it. In the first instance, it always has to be some form of human element. You can't get robots to collate all the feedback for you and then find out with features. It can be as simple as like a type form. If you're releasing a beta or an alpha, then chances are the people that are going to use it first are willing to give you the input. They're willing to give you what you need to continue moving forward. People like being part of something new, and they like knowing what they're talking about is going to make an impact to someone. So like my target audience is entrepreneurs, it's first-time business owners or early business owners in general, more generally. And I've spoken to enough of them and they all love it and they want to use it. And I know that I could then go back to them if I had their contact details and I would say, hey, how'd you like it? What was good, what wasn't good, whether that's a phone call, whether that's a type form, whether that is a Facebook group. There are a plethora of ways to do it. And chances are you're going to have to do all of them because people want to give feedback their way. They're not going to always bend to your method. So if anyone wants to create feedback or wants to generate feedback from their service, they have to be willing to spend a lot of time doing everything, picking up the phone, replying to emails, setting up Facebook groups, creating and analyzing type forms, all of the above and more to get the feedback they need, because consumers want to give feedback, but they want to give feedback their way. So if you're going to be very, very straight and narrow and no, you fill out this or no, you do this, you're not going to get the feedback you need. So just be really flexible, allow people to give feedback their way and you will get the feedback you need.
And then you need to bring it together in some way, shape or form.
That's the human element. So taking a phone call and a type form and an email and a Facebook group and collating it all together is something that a human needs to do. And as a business owner, like I am, or you have like a marketing director or consumer facing, expert in your company, this is their job. They take all the feedback and make it usable. And that's the art of improving your product, is taking 30 different sources of information, combining it into one voice and saying, actually everyone wants this, okay, make it so that's what we're taking it forwards.
Really interesting to talk more about it. And I'd certainly love to have a go myself, if you don't mind.
I'll keep you updated when it's live.
Good man.
When the launch date's ready.
Thank you. So building products to make people's lives easier, whether that be from food, access to food at a lower price, to managing your finances in a better way. You've won an award recently, I understand, associated to the Yellow Label. If you don't mind me going back there just briefly.
Yeah, of course. So very luckily I've been nominated and managed to win a couple of awards lately. Being part of a team and winning an award, but I had to win the award. It wasn't a Yellow Label award. It was for me, but because of my work in Yellow Label, it's a bit of an odd bridge between personal gain and company gain. But so the awards I've been nominated and won for are for youth entrepreneurship. Because I'm quite young and because I'm doing work in a company that is doing work for society, then I am recognized for my contribution and being an equal majority shareholder in that company. It's kind of, again, it's a bit awkward talking about these things, but it's really nice to be honest, like to go up and say thank you and to be recognized by your peers. Like the award I won very recently, set up by a company called Roundtable Global, and so they put up 20 categories of people for young entrepreneurs, I think from like 10 to like 29, so some really, really good people there. They put people forward, and then the winners of the award were voted on peers from the UK, Switzerland, South Africa and America, I think. So as much as I think it's a bit awkward talking about this stuff, to have been nominated and win, having been voted for by literally people around the world, is a real, it's a genuinely huge honor to be so thankful that they thought that I'd done a lot of good work and I'd beaten everyone else that was in my category. Being an entrepreneur, you need those pick-me-ups. Occasionally, it's all well and good knowing that you're doing good, but sometimes you need a complete stranger to pat you on the back and say, well done. Like you're actually doing some good work. It's not just your bank balance that's growing, because it isn't at the moment. But someone is literally standing there saying, this award is for you because you are doing good. Keep going. And that's more valuable than anything, to be brutally honest. Other people believing in your idea and saying what you're doing is brilliant. Keep going. Please, can we help you keep going?
And that's interesting because it is all very well having a pat on the back and saying well done, but if they have the ability to help you elevate your business, elevate yourself to the next level, to be profitable or to be earning and then profitable,
exactly,
it's very, very helpful.
Yeah, and like with all of the awards, they're always like sponsored by people who are always willing to help you. So I've been put in contact with someone in London who runs a company that could actually help us, and there could be a partnership there, as well as just sort of general mentorship from a successful business person.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just general exposure as well, like exposure of your brand and what you're doing. And now I've got access to a community of people whereby if I want anything, if I want expertise, if I want access to a market or something, I've got, think about 200 people that I can just go to and say, look, this is what I've done. I have been recognized by us. We have recognized me as doing this. Can you help me? Or I want to launch in South Africa, or I want contacts in LA. I now have a route into those markets. So all awards are completely different, but there's always a benefit other than just a pat on the back. Normally, you're just in a room of people that are either peers or like-minded individuals. So just the conversations you can have is really, really good. Like for an awards event that I went to that I didn't win at, it was the, I think, Digital Leaders Awards that were big fancy doing in London. I didn't win the award, but I sat on a table with loads of execs and really influential business leaders, and just being able to chat to them for a few hours, and they give advice and support, and contact them on LinkedIn after it, and then seeing where can our relationship go and stuff. That is going to be useful. That I didn't win the award is fine. It literally doesn't bother me, but the contacts you make and the experience you have is very, very good.
So how do you get yourself in front of the people that provide the awards in the first place? Because there are a number of people that would, although have the confidence to be an entrepreneur, not necessarily have the confidence to then go and push themselves forward into the spotlight like that. How did you overcome that fear? And are there any sort of recommended ways of doing so?
So the award that I won, I didn't nominate myself. I was nominated by someone else, one of the people who was in charge of finding young businesses that were doing good to then nominate them. So I literally was sat in my desk one Friday, I think it was, and it's just got inundated with messages on Facebook and Instagram and email and WordPress just saying, I've nominated you, please accept. I think you're doing really good stuff.
Cool.
So I was like, that's really nice. That's really, really nice that someone else likes my work enough, or the company's work enough to say, I'm going to nominate you for an award. That was really nice. But then completely conversely, the one that I didn't win, the Digital Leaders one, I had to nominate myself, but I did that through the Environment Now program that the label is associated with. So they go up for the awards every year to do with youth entrepreneurship, helping society. So the program was up for an award, or wanted to be up for an award, and they gave two of the entrepreneurs in that the chance to be up for the Young Entrepreneur Award. So myself and Emily both went to the award ceremony. So it was really good. So that one I had to do myself. I wasn't pushed to do it, but I was like, look, we think these awards are really good. Just fill out this short form.
Mm-hmm.
Don't shout about how good you are. Just say, here's what you're doing, kind of thing. Three short questions. Tell us what you're doing, and then if you're selected, you'll be taken to the awards ceremony. So it's actually a lot easier to do. It's not like The Apprentice. You don't have to shout about how good you are to the camera, and you're not saying I don't know, I'm the Beyonce of business or something like that. You're just saying, I'm doing this stuff. If I'm good enough, I'll be nominated. If you see an award that you think you could win or someone else could win, just do it. There's literally zero harm in putting yourself up for an award. You might win it, you might not. Who cares? It'll be good. It'll be great. There's literally zero downsides to that.
So you have to be in it to win it.
You do. You really do. And I probably missed loads. Of award ceremonies that I could have gone to and could have won an awards at. A lot of people listening will think, oh, I could have gone to that, or I could have done that, or I could have seen the opportunity and not done it. Like I said, it's an opportunity there. It's not it's not a tax. It's nothing bad. It's an opportunity to get you and yourself out there and get some recognition for the good work you're doing. If you're doing good work, like I said, just be recognized for it. It's a nice little pat on the back. Well done. Keep going.
Yeah, it's credit to you and your team. Yeah.
Thank you.
We've come to the end of our conversation.
Okay.
And I'm really keen to see how you progress, both on a Yellow Label point of view, but also the Finstant company that you've shared with us today.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And of course, Sam Patchitt PLC as a philanthropist of the future, potentially.
Maybe, hopefully so. But yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been really great to just chat to yourself and everyone here about the kind of work I'm doing, and hopefully more people can come on and do the same thing and share their stories, and hopefully someone's been able to take something away from this. And if they have, then I guess my work here has been a success.
Much appreciated. Thank you for your time, Sam.
Thank you.
Take care.
So what do you think? We'll have another interesting story to dive into next week. Looking forward to it already. Some questions to you in the meantime. What is your story? What is your reality right now? And what are you working towards? Let me know. So you can connect with me on Twitter. Just type in Bash in the search and you'll find me. So Bash, B-A-S-H. Easy. On Instagram, it's Bash Reality. So that's Bash_reality. And on LinkedIn, Benjamin Ashmore. Make sure you subscribe, and until next week, cheers.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.